I am Heather Lockett, and this is Lasting Conversations. I am sitting next to Richard Infante, who is the studio director here at the Palm Beach Gardens Pod Populi studio and one of my producers. And Richard is an all-around fantastically awesome dude. I love working with him. Hey, Richard.
How you doing?
So first, we're going to get that radio voice going. So we have so much fun when we're here together. And, you know, all the different guests bring things that is for my show that they're part of their passions, part of their hearts. But Richard gets to hear all of it from all kinds of different angles, from all types of different shows.
That's true.
How does that go for you? And do you have ones, you're not going to name them out, but do you have your favorites that you can't wait for them to come in, and then other moments? We're going to get to the owl in a minute, but the live owl from in my show. But tell us more about you and how you are enjoying this work that you're doing.
Honestly, I never expected to be a studio director for a podcast studio. I've said it before. I think this is the new wave of radio. There's no FCC, so anything said goes.
Right.
And it's just weird because a lot of these stories that you hear, you don't expect to come out from that person. So I can definitely say there's a variety of podcasters that I adore. I love, like, this is definitely one of my favorite ones. And
you're welcome. Thank you very much.
But there are definitely ones that it's painful to sit through. Let's put it that way. It's the subject is not the best. It's not a good story. There's no like moral at the end of it. You know, at the end of the podcast, you want to be left with a message. If I'm not left with a message, then what was the point?
Well, you know, and more power to them. Everybody wants to say something, and hopefully it'll resonate with somebody else. And those are the words that they want to hear. All the while, I think this is why you and I have kismet, and a certain synergy that we just kind of really click and understand each other.
For sure.
Which is really a lot of fun. Let's get to the owl, just because people might be wondering. So at the turn of the new year, I was at a wonderful Creative Mornings event, and we were at Bush Wildlife Sanctuary and learning all about the owls. And to make a very long story short, it just went click, click. Hey, is she, the director, free to come in for the show? Yes. Can I bring an animal? She said. Well, what kind? Snakes or a ferret or an owl? And I ruled out snakes. But thus began the conversation of, well, can we have an animal here? And then she brought in the most beautiful owl named Mo. And I forget which episode number, but it was a beautiful thing. And tell us about it from your perspective, because Mo the owl was just this amazing presence. Oh, a one-eyed owl, by the way. It was a one-eyed owl sitting here and just looking at the camera and looking at us and looking at Richard, and didn't fly around.
It was so cool. I'm a very big, I'm a very, very, very big animal lover. Yeah. Like originally, that's what I wanted to go to school for, was to be a zoologist.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
I told myself I wanted to be the next David Attenborough.
Okay.
And it's still a big dream of mine, to be completely honest with you. But
nice.
When you first brought up to me that you might want to bring an animal in, I had no idea how to react to it, because this is a podcast studio. You have a lot of expensive equipment everywhere. In
basically a shopping mall area outside.
Yes, literally.
It's retail space.
It is. But I didn't expect to be asked that question, because you typically will see someone walking their dog or whatever, but you don't expect to have the question come around, can I bring an owl into the studio? And I had to ask my higher ups, if you will. Yeah. I asked them, I was like, can we bring an owl in? And they're like, go to the other higher up. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do that. So I called, and they're like, that's as long as it's tamed and not like flying around everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, we'll let it slide this one time. And
let's see how it goes.
And it turned out great. You know, like you said, the owl it was as perfectly calm as you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It was just on the holder's like glove,
right,
whatever it is. And the owl was just looking around. It fell asleep, I'm pretty sure, a few times throughout the podcast. It was just so chill, relaxed. It was as perfect as you could get with a scenario like that.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a memory that I'll cherish forever. I have the photos on my phone and everything. So it's amazing.
Well, I really appreciated that we were able to do it. And it was just this bizarro synchronistic thing that even the time we couldn't plan it. There was no planning any of that morning or any of what happened. And so, but this is where I have so much fun here in the studio, and that I love that this is, I think, the best part of why you love this job. And so here you are with this amazing radio voice. Are you you're working on your own show?
This is something we were talking about.
I'm teasing because we know this.
This is something I've been talking about for a very long time now.
Yeah.
I do want to start my own show because I went to college for radio TV. I've told ever since high school, I was told I have just the natural broadcasting voice, the golden voice. And I do want to start my own show at some point. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking of the name of it. I'm still deciding what I want to call it, to be completely honest with you, but it'll come out sooner than later. Good.
So give us, as I know some of the people who are listening, give us a bit of radio hello or voiceover.
There's a variety of different voices I could do, to be completely honest with you. So this is, I don't even consider this the voice I'm using now. This is not my natural voice. This is the radio voice, as I call it. Like, welcome back to 102.3 with smooth jazz, like that. That's the radio voice. Or every once in a while, people, I don't know if I can do it on the fly, but I can do a very good Morgan Freeman, to be honest with you.
Do it if you wish.
Oh goodness, this is hard to be on the spot. I'm trying to think of like a Morgan Freeman quote or something. This is, I may need water for this. This is Morgan Freeman.
Very good.
Thank you very much. It comes in and out a little bit, but I think you can get the sense of it.
That's hilarious. But you are Richard. You are truly your own person, but what you can bring to the table is just so rich. So that's your name.
Correct.
If you happen to have a show called Rich in Conversation, that would be a really good show. Just saying.
I have never thought about that before. So
really?
Thank you for enlightening me on that.
Not that we haven't talked about it before.
Yeah, never once.
So, where do you see, so I love that, you're a young guy, you're starting your career, you're spreading your wings. You are already a studio director, managing a whole bunch of talent and people and schedules and things like that. So that seems to be really good chops for your next iteration. Oh yeah, without a doubt. Are you going to run your own studio one of these days? But you would like to do your, well, again, you'll have your own show, or are you still looking to get in with a major broadcast studio?
Honestly, I'm like very open to it. I'm 23, the job title that I have now is like, it's amazing, being so young, just being called studio director. It just sounds professional in a sense.
Because it is. And you are own that. You are very professional. Right.
I haven't really obviously I am a radio TV major. So my ideal goal was to always be on radio. I know some of the people from the KBJ show at 95.5, I think it is. And it's very, very, very hard to get a foot in the door there. There's not a lot of opportunities that come around for someone that doesn't have that much expertise, if you will. I wasn't able to intern in college because of the whole pandemic and everything like that. So that really hindered me. But there have been opportunities where I have been offered positions that would help me climb to get to that goal. Some of them, for example, would be WPTV, News Channel 5 or ABC 25, any of those networks. I do know people there. So I've been thinking about it, but you never know. You never know what doors open and what doors close. You never know.
Oh, they're going to be opening. They're just opening. I got all the goose. When we get to the goosebump part of the show, which many of my episodes, we just, it's working.
Correct.
It's working. So I guess going back to some of the shows here or the topics at hand, as you said, some of them you resonate with, some that you don't, and you've been a guest on some of the other shows.
Oh, for sure.
And have you had your own particular moment or a certain topics that jazz you?
That jazz, about me talking about it?
Well, either way, whether it's something that, that moment that you're on the conversation, you're on a roll with somebody.
Correct.
And then it can go into whether it is politics or family or feelings or Asperger's or whatever it is. community, what are some of these topics that just you go, oh, cool, we are really talking now?
So you mentioned earlier the Asperger's part of it. So I am on the spectrum, and it's not exactly something that I feel like people are comfortable about talking about openly. It's not exactly something that's brought up to light, if you will. So whenever that subject comes around, people are surprised and very open about it, because nowadays it seems like people are very closed off whenever it comes to that, because there's a certain label that people have with autism, Asperger's, whatever it might be. So a lot of people tend to just hold it back because they have like that fear of being judged for something that they can't control, essentially. Mm-hmm. So I'm passionate about talking about it. I'm very open about it. I don't let it ever hinder me in any shape, way, or form.
Cool. Well, and we've had one of my guests, Sandra, was here, and that her passion is fashion. And she works with folks with, I will say, more severely
higher on the spectrum.
But the work that they do just flourishes, and she's here so that everybody gets to flourish. And that's part of this show, is everybody has a voice. This is part of what Pod Populi literally is here for, is to give everybody, children, adults from, 6 to 106,
right,
their voice. And this is really what we're doing here, is to say that we're all part of this community together, and we all have something to share.
That's correct. Literally.
Without the labels.
Oh yeah. No, there's like in this studio, there's a listener for everything, and there's a story for everything.
Right.
No matter what you say into the microphone, there's someone who's going to get something out of it, no matter what. Doesn't matter what subject it is. It's just how you present it.
Right. So again, with the, I don't know if we're going to go with Say Boss, maybe, because he's one of the guys that has a show that for me, he just goes. He's next level, and he's very worldly. And I think he's traveling to some
he's
crazy ass country right now.
Yes, literally.
But learning along the way and bringing forward those worldly perspectives. So have you been on his show have you been on his show yet?
I haven't been on his show. I know that he does appreciate the video aspects of it. So it's hard for, this is something we were talking about off camera about the whole audio thing and everything. Right. But one thing he does utilize me throughout his show though. So like, for example, on the Joe Rogan Experience, he has a producer on the side that Joe will ask him like, hey, Jamie, can you look up so-and-so? And then he'll pull up the statistics, and we'll have a microphone and camera set up on him, and he'll say like the analytics or whatever it might be. And then they'll transition back to Joe. So he'll use me on the side. I'll have a camera.
Boss will use you.
Yes, but okay. I'm not like the guest on his show. I'm his producer, that if he has a question that he might want to make relevant to a certain topic, he'll ask me, and I'll give the analytics on it, like through the microphone. Cool.
Yeah. That's an awesome sidekick type of thing.
I know it is. I like it.
That's really fun too. There's a lot of good jobs on that too.
Oh no, trust me, I know.
So let's see, what else could we tickle around about? There's somebody here that is kind of a curmudgeon that we love dearly, but this kind of gets into, if there's an audience for everybody, but perhaps it can be kind of difficult, because if people can't play nice in the sandbox, we'll just say like that. Mm-hmm. If some people can't play nice in the sandbox, it makes it hard to have conversations.
Correct.
But then again, if it's their turn on the microphone, they've got something to say. Mm-hmm. That's perfectly fine too.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Without a doubt.
So are you finding that there are other people that, again, resonate well, or that you're finding the audience is having good repertoire, so to speak? And but others are coming in, it's their own personal passion, whether it's there as part of their job or not.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people who come in here, they want to spread their wisdom, spread their word. And whether it's like any subject or whatnot, as long as there's a passion to it, their voice will speak for itself. Essentially, they'll create their own content. They'll get a drive, like they'll get their listeners to listen to whatever they have to say, as long as they convey the message, like as they do so.
And what would you say to somebody who's thinking about it? And I know there's a dear friend of mine who is in the middle of the country in a different state. Although it wouldn't surprise me if another studio opens in her area. So there are a number of people that are considering it. What would you say to that? Just personally, I would say, just say yes. But what would you say?
just simple as you said, yes, there's no reason why you shouldn't. I'm not trying to advertise podcasting in itself, but it's really a very new wave of an audio medium that, like I said before, there's no FCC, meaning that anything said goes. You're not going to get canceled for it. It doesn't matter who it is or what it is. But a lot of people use a podcast just because they want to get their wisdom out there. They want to get it. They have a passion project that is want to they want to have listeners listen to, or they want to like advertise themselves. It's just, there's so many different things that you can do with a podcast that can be beneficiary to you. So why not take advantage of that?
Exactly. And these days, I think it can be done nominally. And obviously people can know how to put their phone on and just go, and it's out there. But I love the great equipment, and it's just very easy to come in and do my thing and not worry about all the
no, you're not wrong. That's why some people were scared to do a podcast in the first place, is because they don't understand the technical side of it. They don't know how to do editing, the distribution. When monetization comes around, they don't know what to do. So it can be difficult. It's like walking in the dark, but in reality, it's really not that hard to start a podcast as long as you have the proper equipment. If there's no necessary edits or anything, the distribution is very, very easy. Just go into a podcast platform and uploading the audio itself and writing a title and description. That's really it. Cool.
Very cool. So let's see. Is there a topic or a type of a guest? Because you're a good matchmaker also. Is there
correct?
That's very correct. So what do you see as next for me?
Ooh,
or a topic.
Well, here's the thing: is that with your podcast, you're very open to a variety of different guests. You like to get that sort of a different perspective about, like, it could be someone who has a completely different career or just lifestyle than you. I can't think of like anyone specific. It's if they're good on the microphone, they're good on the microphone. Just simple as that. So honestly, I think as long as the person's nice, as long as they know how to convey their message or their wisdom, whatever it might be, I think anyone's perfect.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Richard, this has been so cozy. And is there anything else? You want to lead us out? Oh, I know what. Do me a favor.
Okay.
So I have my intro, which I did, and then there's the exit. Thank you for listening.
Okay.
I would love it if you would do that for me today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how we'll finish it off today?
Yeah, we'll finish it off. And thank you for being here, Richard.
No, thank you. And thank you for listening. Please be sure to like, follow, review, and share this podcast. And if you'd like to be a part of the conversation, send emails to podcast@lastingconversations.com or on Facebook. This is Lasting Conversations. We get to the heart of everything.